Good morning, Galina. Good morning, Ivan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to all participants of this conversation. Can Russian independent media in exile survive Moscow's information war? My name is Mirjana Tomic, and I curate and moderate seminars and talks on politics and media in Europe for two Vienna-based organizations, Presse Club Concordia and Forum Jornalismo sul Media and Film. This morning, another Vienna-based organization, International Press Institute, has partnered with us to organize the conversation with two top Russian journalists in exile, Meduza co-founders, Galina Timchenko and Ivan Kolpakov, CEO and editor-in-chief, respectively. Galina is an award-winning journalist, CEO and co-founder, as I said, of Meduza, Latvia-based news outlet founded in 2014. Prior to establishing Meduza, Timchenko was editor-in-chief of Lenta.ru, one of the most influential Moscow-based online media outlets in Russia. In 2014, she was fired due to change of ownership and editorial line. Most journalists resigned from Lenta.ru in solidarity with Galina and joined her in Riga, where she founded Meduza together with Ivan Kolpakov and Ilya Krasilchik. In April 2021, the Russian authorities designed Meduza as a foreign agent, and in 2022, the government began blocking Meduza website. In January 2023, Kremlin banned Meduza, declaring the outlet an illegal and undesirable organization. Ivan Kolpakov is editor-in-chief. He started working as a journalist in 2001 in Perm, where he contributed to local political and business newspapers. In 2010, he launched his own media project Salt, and in 2012, he moved to Moscow and became the head of Special Reporters Department at Lenta.ru. As I said, together with the rest of the team of Lenta.ru, he left Russia together with Galina and founded Meduza. How can the Russian exile media survive Vladimir Putin's information war? The odds are numerous. Russian audience is not allowed to pay for media designated as undesirable organizations. They cannot even pay easily because of sanctions, not to mention legal obstacles for journalists working inside Russia as correspondents. The number of subscribers abroad does not suffice to finance media work. The US funds have disappeared. European funds are sought after by numerous exile media, not only Russian. The gap between Russians in exile and those who remain seem to grow. How does one inform this diverse audience? Thank you, Galina and Ivan, for accepting the invitation. And the format of the talk, this 45-minute talk, is rather simple. I will ask a few questions, and then the audience will be invited to ask live questions. Background, Presse Club Concordia and our partners organized numerous talks with Russian independent journalists before the beginning of the 2022 war and after. We discussed challenges, but some optimism always seemed to prevail. Although Galina said in 2021, the winter will be long, there will be no spring. Has the optimism disappeared in 2025? This year seems to be particularly challenging. Why? Galina, could you please explain what is the overall situation right now that makes, for Russian media in exile, that makes 2025 a particularly difficult year?
Good morning one more time, and thank you for having me. And may I add to all my awards, I received special award from Russian government. They opened criminal case against me as a head of undesirable organization. They arrested me in absence, and they put me into the wanted list of criminals. So here I am. And that's not the reason why 2025 is the most challenged year in our history. But you know, this year started with the full scale invasion into internet of Russian authorities. Started this year with the slowing down the main and the most popular platform, YouTube. Then they started uh, to activate shutdowns of mobile internet. And then and you know, first it was just like it's because of war with Ukraine, and it's because of security reasons with these drone attacks from Ukraine. But then even in Far East, authorities started mobile shutdowns. There is no internet in many, many regions of Russia except the cable internet, home internet. Uh, Even in Moscow, there is no navigators using mobile internet. Then they forbid usage of or consumption of uh, voice calls in messengers, hostile messengers, as they for sure WhatsApp and Telegram. They banned this, and they pushed Russian citizens to download the state messenger called Max, who is following all your activities. So it's full censorship. Everything you do in this Max, and they want to connect it with the all state services. All your data is going to FSB directly. And then from the 1st of September, Russian authorities they implemented the huge package of so-called anti-extremist laws, but it's the most repressive laws in modern history of Russia. For example, citizens are banned from searching so-called extremist information, but nobody knows what is it. There is no definition of extremist information. Uh, and so from one side, they started the huge and very long attack on the internet infrastructure. Second side, they tried to scare people to use internet or to use any sources except allowed. And there is no rumors, but our sources said that they are developing, and we have not one but more than three sources, that Russian authorities are developing so-called white lists of allowed media and allowed sources. Now we are following the rule: everything is allowed, that is not forbidden. But since New Year, it seems to me that they will implement these white lists, and everything will be forbidden except the white list of websites. So
Just a
they
follow
are
up, a
attacking
short
our
follow up
infrastructure.
question, Galina.
Ah,
Have you noticed that less people
yes,
access your
yes.
Meduza website via VPN since the introduction of these measures?
Yeah, you know, during mobile shutdowns, VPN is not the solution because there is no internet at all. But you know, they are definitely cutting us off our audience. People inside Russia, they uh, just in case they are unsubscribe from main information sources, so they are scared and they just do not want to have problems. So we are now in between Iranian and Belarusian scenarios where people inside their home from their laptops or their computers, they are reading, but they are not subscribing, they are not paying. And we see the substantial decline of our audience. despite of huge using of VPN, because many of people before these mobile shutdowns, they have been using their phones to reach to independent sources. Now during mobile shutdowns they have no chance to reach these news sources or media, independent media, so they use home computers, and we see the decline of our audience. So it's I call it war of attrition, because Russian authorities, they are trying to break down our infrastructure, and at the same time they are trying to scare the audience to use any independent sources of information.
Thank you so much, Galina. Ivan, would you say that the picture that Galina has just described, does it apply to most Russian media abroad? That's one question. And second, does it mean that most Russian media in exile, independent, will depend basically of either Russians abroad, foreign readers, and funds of
Yes,
different organizations?
yeah. Hi, Mariana. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So, yeah, I think that that the picture is precise, and it's dramatic. A lot of Russian independent media escaped the country after 2022 because otherwise a lot of people would go to prison. So it was the only way to keep doing uncensored journalism. So tens of media organizations evacuated from Russia, and most of them, and the most important of them, were blocked. There was another opportunity, however, to broadcast in Russia. It was YouTube, and YouTube remained some sort of alternative television for a while, up until 2025. Now YouTube is also, well, in fact, it is blocked. In Russia, they call it slowing down, as Galina mentioned, but in fact, they just blocked it. So it means that they are the process of cutting people from the independent information is extremely effective now. Speaking of funds, yes, it's a sad topic, as you can imagine. Well, in our case, I think that Meduza is a great example of the whole situation with funds, because for a long time it's weird, but we started in abroad in 2013, but we managed to construct the proper business, the proper company, a commercial company with real income, with the advertising agency in Moscow, with probably the most precious audience for the advertisers, for the clients from Russia. So before 2021, Meduza was a successful business organization. And when we were marked as a foreign agent, it's obvious, but our business model was crushed in 5 working days. We lost all our advertisers in just 1 week. So we thought that it is the end, to be honest, because we believe that media, that strong media, they need to earn money. They can't rely on donors and I don't know, big business. It's really toxic. It's really bad. So we thought that we need to shut down the operations, but we managed to start this incredibly huge crowdfunding campaign. It was really big. It was like more than 150,000 people who donated Meduza in less than 1 year, and 36,000 were like so-called recurrent donators. So they send money every month, and it can create the real solid financial model for an organization. Then in less than 1 year, again, this model was crushed because of the war. So we stopped accepting donations from Russia. First of all, because we were afraid for our donators from Russia, and it was a smart move because later we were labeled as an undesirable organization. So now it is actually illegal to send any donations to Meduza in the eyes of Russian authorities. So we needed to start over. So we started this new crowdfunding campaign that was focused on people abroad. Since Meduza is a very popular media organization in Russia, and we are still focused on Russia, and we have more than 60% of our audience in Russia still. Of course, this crowdfunding is smaller. It can't be that big. From one side, because we now rely only on people in exile. A lot of them are struggling with their lives. It's not an easy path. From the other side, there is a war, and people are just, to be honest, they are running from news. They are running from news, and also, of course, a lot of people, they are scared because we are an undesirable organization. People, even abroad, people are scared. So for a while, we'll combine this smaller crowdfunding with the international organization support. This is real big infrastructure, but the infrastructure collapsed in the beginning of this year with the USAID situation. Sometimes, like, we did not receive a lot of American money, but everybody knows that the whole infrastructure relies on this part of funds. European organizations suffered a lot. Sometimes it's not that obvious. Like, there is that we have different anti-blocking tools that allow us to bypass censorship in Russia. And of course, we receive a lot of help from NGOs that supporting these anti-blocking tools. I can provide you just one example. One organization that provided us one of the most crucial anti-blocking tools came to Galina early this year and said, guys, we are out of funds. We lost our American funds. It means that you will have to pay for this technology. And this technology cost 35,000 euros in 6 months. So it's like 70,000 per year. And we can't say no, because this is one of the technologies that we use to actually bypass censorship. So of course there are a lot of skeptical people and people who are enjoying the collapse of these infrastructure, and it's not beautiful. The infrastructure is not beautiful. Of course, it received a lot of criticism throughout many years, but some organizations collapsed because of the whole situation, and Meduza is suffering a lot. We had layoffs. We laid off 15% of our staff. It's painful because these people are in exile, and these guys are great journalists. We will never manage to bring them back. We cut salaries as always, and we did it several times. We optimized everything we can actually optimize. Still, we don't have money. So we started this new, to be honest, quite desperate crowdfunding campaign 2 weeks ago, and it's ongoing. So we're trying to, we don't think that we will raise enough money through this crowdfunding campaign. This is not going to happen. But we are trying to send a SOS signal, to be honest, to the audiences, to the organizations, to people like you.
Two things. One thing is, what is your exact target? Let's put it this way, with this urgent campaign. That is one thing. Another thing is Meduza in a similar, same, worse, or better situation in comparison to other Russian media in Europe, or all of these Russian media in Europe are fighting for the same funds? Would it be better to cooperate, or, as we know, cooperation is not always easy?
Do you want me to answer?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
First, it's hard to compare. Like we are big, so we have big problems. Our colleagues, the majority of our colleagues, they're smaller, they have smaller problems, but not all of them are small. Like TV Rain is also struggling. This is another large Russian media organization. So we have big problems because we are big. This is the only general
just give us a few figures. What is your budget and how many people are employed?
I can't disclose the budget number, but I can tell you that the audience is between 10 and 15 million people, like in different months.
Working with you?
It's the whole team is.
No, it's not a journalist. In total, we have almost 70 people inside our organizations, including accountants, including tech department, including designers, including photo editors, and all the same.
Including book publishing.
Yeah.
Including book publishing.
So we I'm sorry for this word, but we are optimized as hell, because for me, for sure, and for Ivan, we are working at 3 positions at the same time for less than 1 salary.
Yeah. And but still, however, we have crowdfunding, and it provides. I mean, when I'm saying it's a smaller crowdfunding than it used to be in Russia, it still means that this crowdfunding provides around 50% of it, covers around 50% of our budget. I would say that there is no one in our industry who can get this money from the audience. This is just impossible for our colleagues. So we are in this very lucky position, I would say, in a very lucky position. And we also trying to do some commercial stuff. Like we started this book publishing 2 years ago, and last year we earned our first money since 2021, when Meduza was labeled as a foreign agent. It was amazing, to be honest. It was amazing to earn some money. It's small money. We invest all this money into the development of our book publishing, but still, it's psychologically it was very important. So I would say that, I mean, we are not dying, but
you're in agony.
Yes, but Meduza, as we know it, will may collapse tomorrow. Like we say that now we need to cut off our leg or our hand or something like that. Like the next cuts, the next layoffs will mean that we will destroy the product, some parts of this product. So this is the situation. In terms of collaborations, well, we collaborating. Like the industry was never united as now. Like we collaborate with many other organizations. As one of the biggest organizations, we use our opportunity to address the audience, to promote smaller media organizations, to promote NGOs' work, to collect money for political prisoners, to collect money for Ukrainians. This is probably the only effective Russian organization that collects money for peaceful Ukrainians, for peaceful needs in Ukraine is Meduza, together with TV Rain and together with our friends from NGO Служба поддержки. Like this is the only initiative that exists in this industry, but we can't collectively get funds because you know that there is a competition for funds, and we can't even influence that, and we are not trying to influence that. We are trying to be focused on our problems and to present the whole problematic through the lens of Meduza.
Galina, before I open the screen to the audience, I recall you said several years ago during a Congress of International Press Institute in Vienna, I remember you said that, and this was before the war, that many donors, when you apply for money, ask for like 5-year plan, and you cannot think 1 week ahead. How can you tell them what will happen in 1 year? And this was before the war. What is your immediate target now with this campaign? What do you tell your potential donors? You cannot give them a 5-year plan or a 3-month plan.
Yeah, for sure. Yesterday I had a meeting with some representatives of media hubs all across the Europe, and still, despite all the situation, despite of blocking, despite of labeling meta products as Facebook and Instagram an extremist organization, many of foundations or NGOs or donors, they are trying to push us to set the goal of increasing audience, for sure. For 4 years I have been repeatedly said that there is no possibility of growing audience at all, because of many reasons I've mentioned. But at the same time, there are some uh, stubborn position. It's all about impact. It's all about different platforms, despite the fact that platforms are forbidden or banned or closed or blocked inside Russia. And there is stubborn position, some ideological problems, because from the very beginning we rely on core support from donors. But now there are many voices who said, guys, you have to fight disinformation, you have to be counter propaganda. And it's not a journalism at all. And that's the problem. For example, yesterday, some of representatives of donors said, okay, we try to put media into defense European budget, and we want you to fight propaganda as a counter propaganda. And that's, it seems to me that that's the problem, because the main mission of journalism are now broken, even in words and in ideas in European Union.
Well, the very idea that you would be in a defense budget means you would be a war party at some point.
For
And
sure.
that is what you have just explained is a full lack of understanding among the donors about the situation. Let me just read a few questions,
Yep.
and you decide who will reply. One is from Philip Noble from Global Voices in Prague. I'll read two questions. Does the scenario of having a RUNET similar to China's internet beyond Great Wall seem now more plausible? Thank you. And the second question is from Carola Schneider from the Austrian public broadcaster. She used to be a correspondent in Russia. How do you keep connected to the everyday life in Russia, to the problems and fears of your audience in Russia? This must be very difficult for journalists in exile. How do you keep your journalists safe? You're working still on the ground. Thank you. And then in addition, perhaps another question, where do you take your information from? Are there still some contacts to Russian officials left? No public contacts, of course, who keep informing you about what is going on inside the Russian political and power structure. You decide who wants to reply to this.
Maybe I'll talk about China or other scenarios. According to our technical specialists and to our developers, there are no possibilities of copying China's scenario. It's more like Iranian scenario or North Korean scenario.
Would you please explain Iranian scenario?
For example, Russians want to replace popular messengers with state messenger, and China has WeChat messenger, which is very popular, but China has different messengers, and you have the possibility to choose one of them for sure. And China for sure has forbidden sites, but there are no so-called white lists, and there is no just one state messenger. You have to download in every phone you have. For example, Russia is now implementing pre-downloaded mandatory mobile applications to follow all the users, all the activities. And there is no such way in China except some regions. And more or less, Chinese people have the possibility to choose between 1, 2, 3. There is no such opportunity for Russians now, and there is no so great shutdowns in China, but Russia is following more Iranian scenario and more Belarusian scenario. For example, in Russia, police could now stop you on the street and order you to show your iPhone and to check whether you're subscribed or not for so-called extremist organizations like Alexei Navalny Foundation, his ex-organization, or any other foundation or any other organizations. They'd like to check. And we have some cases when people read some news independent sources in public transport, and they were reported and detained and interrogated. So more or less, it's more than Iranian scenario than Chinese.
Thank you. Ivan, would you like to add the other question, please?
Yes, I will answer the question about the relevance. So this is it's a great question. It's fundamental. I mean, and this is the question about relevance, of course. How can we report from Russia without being in Russia? Yeah, so this is it's a great question. Before the war, we used to have like 30% of our staff in Russia. They were based in Russia, in Moscow predominantly, but also in other cities in St. Petersburg and in Novosibirsk and some other places. Then, and some of them, they even had accreditations from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So we were legal, and it made, of course, our journalists, they were foreign correspondents in their own country, which is weird, but we could operate. Then the war started, we had to evacuate everybody. So we don't have any people who are openly collaborating to Meduza in Russia anymore. No legal stuff, no bureau or something like that. It is impossible. We are outlawed. So when we found ourselves in this situation, we started constructing this semi-journalistic network in Russia. We call these people proxy reporters or guerrilla reporters, and they're doing something for us. So they're not doing journalism by the book, and it is impossible. So we needed to rethink everything we did in Russia, but they can do something. They can witness, they can talk to people, they can go to places, they can report in a very peculiar way from different places, different cities. I can't disclose a lot because it's a security thing. But we still have people on the ground, and they are risking their freedom and well-being, but they are doing this for us, and it helps us to get information from the ground. We also have we do a lot of reporting through internet and through phone calls, etc. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. So this is the crossroad, and we need to pick the direction. The one direction is not doing any journalism, not reporting anything from the ground, and the other direction is doing something, trying to report from the ground, having some people who are doing something on the ground, doing these remote reports from the ground. We think that it's better to have this alternative path. It is better for the audience. It's the only option we have, and we're trying to follow it.
And
Thank you. I will read the questions, but I would also like to know that I tell the audience you can raise your hand and you can ask the questions live. So Gianpaolo from Vox Europe, do you have access? I'm reading. To European Union funds grants for media projects, even though participating to EU-based media consortia? Do you envisage, question 2, do you envisage opening your capital to the public, selling shares to NGOs and private citizens after screening them, maybe in exchange for some kind of premium relationship with the newsroom? And what is the proportion of Meduza's readership inside, outside Russia? Who will write to respond to this?
May I add something to Ivan's words about our reporting from the ground? We still have sources in Russian governmental structures and in Russian authorities and even near to Kremlin. And many of our Russian colleagues hesitated that we have, but we have this because not only usual people are tired of war and tired to be scared, but people from ministries, people from Kremlin, people from administrations, regional administrations, they tired of war as well, and they are still our sources. There are not many sources, but we still have reliable sources inside Russian power structures. First, and second, I can talk about the just a moment. Ivan will talk maybe about important stories and that is missing in European countries. But speaking about the proportions of readership, we have no precise numbers, but we developed special tools to count our audience inside Russia. Still, it's more than 60% of our audience. They are inside Russia. Speaking about the direct numbers, we still have 5 million users per month in our website, more than million in our Telegram channel, almost million in our YouTube channel, despite blocking and despite all odds, more than million in our Instagram channel, and so on and so forth. So we developed special mechanism how could we count, and it's more or less reliable, and it was approved by European foundations. So we still evaluate our as Ivan said, our audience from 10 to 15 million, 65% are inside Russia. Yes.
And European grants?
European grants, yes, of course we have.
The problem is that many, sorry, Ivan, the problem is that most of them will come to the end at the end of 2025. There is no renewal program, and still European organizations are deciding how to continue support for independent media. So we have very short horizon of planning. Yes, sorry.
Ivan?
Yeah, so okay, I'll just shortly like the opening capital to the public. It sounds very interesting, and it may sound like the solution. In reality, it doesn't work in reality, unfortunately. Particularly because we are Russian language media, which means that we would need to work with rich people from Russia, and unfortunately, people who want to invest in media organizations, they want to control media organizations. This is the only reality we have. Like there is no such thing as a rich person from Russia who wants to invest to media and understands that it's a very special investment. You can't get anything in return. And this is not about, you know, having a good conversation with some stars from the newsroom. No, normally it doesn't work like that, fortunately. So for us, we think that we were extremely lucky to have our business model based on advertisement. It made us truly independent. And then we switched to crowdfunding with a very small average check. So we have a lot of supporters. They send small money, but it makes the whole system very solid. We are not dependent on one big donor or something like that. We are diversified. So I think that theoretically our model is not bad. It's better than the models of the majority of media organizations in exile. We combine a lot of different sources, but it's not enough. Unfortunately, now it's not enough for the media of our size. It just doesn't work. We can try we are discussing different opportunities for the future. Like yesterday, we had a strategic session dedicated to that, and we discussed the trust again, because we had this idea in 2014 when we started Meduza, and all other opportunities. We want to explore them, and we are very inventive in terms of these, combining different tools. However, there is no silver bullet. There is no magic, there's no magic key that can open like all the doors. It doesn't work like that.
Ivan, would you also like to address briefly this? What important stories or perspectives do you feel are missing from the Western mainstream media coverage of Russia?
It can take another 45 minutes. I don't want to answer these particular question. I want to mark just a huge problem with Russian resistance. Like there is when you look at Russia from the outside, I think that the only thing you see is this society that as a monolith supports Putin, or at least does not stand against it. This is the only picture you can get, but there is a real resistance in the country. Like people are publishing, there is a real censorship in book publishing, for example. You can't publish anything related to LGBT, war, current political situation, you name it. You can imagine the list of forbidden topics. But the book publishings, they managed to publish books about the war, about Putin, even about LGBTQ people, despite the fact that LGBT is now marked as an extremist movement in Russia, and etc. So you can go to prison, essentially. So people are managing to write between the lines, but you can't report on that. People are making theater, making movies, making a lot of different things that is purely anti-regime or anti-war, etc., etc. But you can't report on that. Because if you report, there's a big problem for us. For example, we understand that there is a resistance and people are fighting, and they're very brave doing that. But we can't report that, nor we can't report it in a normal way, because we put them in danger. And this is the permanent discussion. This is a permanent discussion within our newsroom. How can we report on that without putting these people in danger? And we have it's not as simple to, it's very difficult to resolve. So I think that Russia becomes a huge blind spot because of that. I think that for Western journalists, for many of Western journalists who covering Russia systematically, they all understand that, but they can't cover that. It's just impossible. And this is, I think, it's very unfair, and we understand how media work. unfortunately, like if it does not exist in media, it seems that it just does not exist, but it's not like that.
Could we
But I mean,
extend 5 minutes? Is it okay with you?
Yeah.
Because there are more,
yes,
there are more
yes,
questions.
yes.
I will go to the
Mhm.
question from Reporters Without Borders because it addresses Meduza correctly. Excuse me, directly. Beyond plain money, what are resources that Meduza is currently in need of? I imagine security is becoming a bigger issue in this war of attrition. I remember when you discovered spyware on Galina's phone 2 years ago. Please go ahead.
I named it war of attrition for the reason because we are fighting at the same time in different fields. For example, we currently experienced huge DDoS attacks. For example, we survived 2 billion not downloads, but 2 billion,
Clicks.
yeah, for our infrastructure.
2 billion requests.
2 billion requests to our servers in one day, 2 billion. So it was huge DDoS attacks. Carders and hackers who are working for Russian government, they are trying to donate us with the stolen cards or compromised bank accounts. At the same time, there are phishing in our email boxes and trying, usual Ivan is experiencing very common usual attacks on all his social media. Then I can give one example that we 1 year ago, the mirrors from where we took our content to publish it in our mobile application, they were blocked twice a week. Now Russian authorities are blocking our mirror content every 10 minutes. You know, so it's a constant war from different perspective. So we definitely need networking or some kind of consultancy in technical support, in law support. For example, we have subsidiary in Germany, and we definitely need some kind of jurisdictional support. And the Center for Defending for Journalism Defense, its leader Galina Rapova yesterday said that Russians started new campaign. They, some of guys who have company inside Europe, they trying to file lawsuits against independent media inside European Union for defamation or for lying or for faking news, something. So they uh, um, trying to take this opportunity to win in court and to get money from us and so on. So we do need networking support and connection with our colleagues, and definitely we want and we are asking our colleagues to spread the word about the situation and maybe to publish some articles about the situation, and that will be the great support for us.
Well, you have actually said what I wanted to ask. Maybe Ivan wants to add, but I take the privilege of moderating. This is a question to Galina. I don't want to imply that you're older than Ivan, but it is the case. I'm just wondering, can you compare this to the Soviet times or it's
Yeah,
worse?
sure. I can compare, but Soviet times were much softer because in Soviet Union you have very clear rules how to behave yourself, not to be in trouble. But now inside Russia there are no rules at all. You can be catched in any case, any time. just because. So there is no rules. Soviet Union had those rules.
Well, Ivan, you probably don't remember the Soviet Union, but what is your message to our audience? And this event, this talk was actually a support for you on behalf of Presse Club Concordia Fiume and International Press Institute. Go ahead. What is your message to our audience? No need to compare to the Soviet time.
I mean, I only have good memories about Soviet times. I'm sorry, guys, but I was a small kid. Yes, so I remember only good things. It's weird to say, but it's true. I mean, you already said everything. Spread the word. This is an essential thing in many situations. The networking actually helped us to survive. Like when, for example, in the beginning of the war, when our Russian crowdfunding collapsed, it was our German colleagues from this smaller media organization called Hipota, who came to us and said, you know, guys, we see that you are, you know, you are probably busy now with the war coverage, and beware. And the evacuation of our people, and they said, hey, we want to help you with the crowdfunding campaign for free. We can just reorganize it. We can rearrange it, and they did that. They did that for several weeks. They just worked for us, and then they did a lot of networking, and it kickstarted just their work. Started our international crowdfunding that we rely on so much nowadays. We would not be here. We would not talk to you. We are not talking to you without their support. So I think that this is very simple. So if you can't do anything, if you don't have money, you can send an email to your colleagues, to your partners, I don't know, to your fellows from other organizations, and say, look, guys, there's this Meduza, and they are struggling. Maybe you know how to help them. This is the key thing.
Well, I hope that this conversation added a little bit to this networking, and I apologize if we did not answer all the questions in the chat, but we really focused on Meduza and supporting Meduza, and well, let us hope that the winter will end one day, Galina, and spring will come. It has to come, it always does. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mirjana. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Always pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.